David and Goliath. This has been a favorite story down through the years of so many people of God. The young man that goes out and faces the giant. When we go to Israel, we go to the valley. And it's interesting to know now on this side you have the Philistines, on this side you have the Israelites, and then down through the middle there is this creek. And not every group goes there, but I like to pull the bus over at that point and give people an opportunity to climb down into the creek and pick up some stones. I tell them, if you happen to find a stone with a little bit of blood on it, let me know. I'd like to have that particular stone, but I've been able to bring those back and give them to some of my grandkids. A lot of people picture David as like a 12-year-old boy, a young child. In actuality, he was not. He was a youth. That's true. You were a youth until you're 30 years old. He was probably, at the absolute youngest, he was probably 17, but more than likely closer to 18, 19, or even 20. He wasn't married yet, which means he probably wasn't much over 20, but he probably had a beard. We don't picture the young man out there with a beard, but more than likely that is David. After all, right after this, he becomes a commander in the army. So you're not going to give this job to a 12-year-old boy. We look at what happened here, and some people think this was a miracle of God. Well, I don't think so. God was involved, but God was preparing David to become king. So in preparation, he learned many different things, one of which was how to handle a sling. And he was able, like many of the young boys of that time, were able to hit a tree from a certain distance and kind of hone their skills on that. But the main thing that David had was confidence. The confidence that he needed to attack a bear when a bear was trying to get one of his lambs, or attack a lion. That was an unusual amount of confidence. And he said to Saul, well, this giant, this ungodly Philistine is like a bear or a lion. I can take him. So what happened? When Goliath was out there and David faced him, he said, am I a dog that you come to me with sticks? And David yells back, come to me, and I will cut off your head and feed your flesh to the birds. So you see this giant walking towards David. Well, this huge giant. Probably didn't have his helmet on, wouldn't need it, and didn't have his shield. He was just going to come grab this kid and break him in two. But David, after yelling all those threats, runs towards the giant. At this point, he stops. He pauses. Just like the bear did, just like the lion did. They used their roar as to disarm their opponent, to scare them. But instead, David rushed up, and when Goliath stopped and paused just for that little bit, he became a stationary target. And David just landed one right on him. Didn't kill him, but it was like a bullet, and he went falling down face first. Now this exposed Goliath's sword. The people didn't wear swords on their side, they wore them behind their head. And so when Goliath fell down, David was able to jump up on top of him, pull out his sword from his back, and cut off his head. And with that, he had the victory based upon God's preparation and confidence. Unusual. I like the part in the story where David walks into Saul's tent holding the head of Goliath. Sometimes we kind of clean up our Bible stories not to offend the small children, especially the girls. I tell this story to junior hires, and all the guys go, yeah, and the girls say, oh, yuck. But that's what it was. He walked in there carrying Goliath's head. And he was brought, Saul knew right then, I need this young man. He's not going back home. He's going to go into my army. And so we have David becoming a commander in time. And what does he teach his men? He teaches them confidence. Confidence which other armies didn't have. There was armies with better technology than Israel. But a little bit of an earthquake, thunder and lightning, they run. It doesn't take much for the armies of that day to run. David taught his men, you don't run. You stand put. And with that, he was able to train his men to conquer his world of that day, the entire channel between the north and the south. He completely took took over all those nations. And that's why David's kingdom and Solomon's kingdom was so wealthy. They controlled the north and south trade. And all of this came from confidence that David had, that God taught him, and he was able to teach his men. Well, come back next time when we give you more insights on the story.